WWE currently is going through a new precipice of issues, okay, regarding the Bloodline, alright? We already went over this in the past. I did this video a month ago. I already told you, the Bloodline storyline is stale. It's holding back SmackDown. I firmly believe that, alright? But either way, let's just put that aside, okay, and let's just pretend like that's not a thing right now. Let's just exclusively talk about Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, okay? And more specifically, this is sort of going to just be a rant on Solo Sikoa, alright? And I'm going to give you 15 reasons why, right now, Jacob Fatu is vastly overshadowing him, and why Solo Sikoa is probably not built for this role. Okay, so let's just start with reason number one. His matches are not particularly interesting. He has a very, very generic Samoan moveset. This typically ends up being the case for most of the Samoans, a lot of times, but this is it's very undeniably the case for Solo Sikoa. And even his brothers, the Usos aren't particularly, they're good in-ring workers, sure, but like, we watched their Mania match. They're nothing special, okay? It's very generic moves, a lot of times, incredibly generic moves. This causes me to not give a fuck about what I'm watching. It causes me to tune out, and it causes lots of people to tune out with solo matches, and that was happening even in the course of last year, alright? Number two, he has terrible entrance music, and I know this is such a niche, small thing, but it's not. It's really not. This is important for main eventers' presentations, okay? Roman's entrance music, his entrance is awesome. It's very recognizable. It stands out. There's nothing good about Solo's entrance. Not only is the music just horrible, but the entrance itself is not good. It's not inspiring. It's not captivating. It doesn't take you out. And the entrance for a wrestler is one of the most important components to their presentation. So his entrance music isn't really, and his entrance music specifically is horrible more than anything else. This is number three, and this is something that I've tried to touch upon, but not everyone feels this sentiment, but I do. I massively do, okay? The reason you love Roman, alright, the reason Roman can be this big superstar, and he's viewed that way in a mainstream sense even, is because of his appearance. Roman's 6'2", 6'3", so he's a tall guy. He's very muscular. His tattoos in the right spots. He looks like a badass. He's got the awesome long hair. He looks like a badass, right? Everyone kind of tells, like, no gay shit, but Roman looks pretty cool, right? He's also handsome, so it's like, again, no gay shit, but he is. So it's like, we all kind of know and can kind of see that with Roman, right? Solo Sikoa is nothing, like, palatable to this. Jay is close. Jay is shorter than Roman, but Jay's a pretty decent looking dude. He has a standout look. Solo is a chubster. Solo's shorter than his brothers, and he's much shorter than Roman. He's about 4 or 5 inches shorter than Roman. They try to bill him at 6'2". He's not 6'2". And by the way, ignore the raining noises in the background. I don't know if you can hear that. If you can, ignore it. I'm outside, okay? Weird setting for this video. But either way, Solo is 5'10", maybe 5'11". He's got a blonde mohawk. He's supposed to be like, and he's a complete chubster, right? Like, he's chubby, doesn't have a really incredible physique. He's big, he's strong, like, we can tell with that, but he doesn't have a particularly good physique. The Usos have pretty decent physiques, more specifically Jay, and Roman has a really great physique, right? He does not have a particularly great physique, okay? That's pretty fucking obvious when you're watching what he's doing. Nothing about his physique really stands out, okay? He's also just not tall, so when he does his face-off with Roman, he doesn't look comparable. Like, he really doesn't. Not at all. Seth Rollins looks comparable to Roman. Jey Uso even does at times. But it's like, we all know he doesn't look comparable to Roman. We all can see it, right? You'd have to be kind of blinded to believe otherwise. He doesn't look comparable to Roman in any capacity, okay? But whatever. And even then, he doesn't look comparable to most main eventers. Most main eventers are over 6 feet tall. They have good physique. They have very decent, steady physique. There's nothing about his physique that tells you, oh, this guy is impressive or anything like that. He's a meatball. He's a fucking meatball. So it's like, that's something like, I know that's more personal to me, but it's true. He's a meatball, right? And that's just not good representation. And when he's wearing his suit, we'll get to that later. When he's wearing his suits, it doesn't look good on him because he's a chubby dude. He's a short, chubby dude, right? Either way, let's put that, we'll put that onto his side. But yeah, he's a meatball, all right? That goes against him. He's not tall, and he's not particularly strong, and he doesn't have particularly great physique, all right? The crowd doesn't also think very highly of him, okay? I think this is reason number 4 or 5, I forget. But this is 15 reasons anyways, all right? The crowd doesn't think very highly of him, okay? They don't boo him because he's someone they want to boo, okay? They want to boo in a sense that, oh my God, but he's a real villain. No, they're booing him because he's a phony. Because he's phonying being Roman Reigns. The crowd loves Roman Reigns. They love Roman. They love Roman. So they're seeing this guy and going, what the fuck is this? And they're booing him as a natural response. They're booing him in some ways the way Jericho gets booed. It's like, we don't even like you. We just don't give a fuck about you. They're not booing him because he's a good heel, because he's a good villain. No. They're booing him because he's a phony. That's why he's a fraud. They're booing him because of love for Roman. Because Roman's who they love. They love him. They think of him as their tribal chief. They don't give a fuck about this guy. He's a fraud. That's why they're booing him. All right? He does not come off threatening. Look, he doesn't. And this goes back to the physique thing. He doesn't come off threatening. And this goes back to Jacob Fatu. Okay? Jacob Fatu comes off as a fucking threatening force of nature. Now, even when Solo was the enforcer, he never came off as some overly threatening guy. Jacob did. Jacob's always come off as more threatening than Solo. That's very, very true time and time again. Right? It's very true. Jacob comes off incredibly threatening. The first moment you saw him, the first moment he was doing his moves, his facials are very important to this. His hair is important to this. He comes off very threatening. Solo does not. He never really has. In the early days of his enforcer roles, maybe, but as time has went on, definitely not. Okay? This is a small one I'm going to mention anyways, I don't care. He has an underwhelming haircut. Once again, Roman stands out because of his hair. Part and parcel, his hair. Jey Uso stands out because of his hair. They have very, standout looks. You could say, well, what Solo's is, he's got a blonde mohawk. Yeah, but it's not a good haircut. It's just not. It doesn't look serious. He's a mob boss. He's the boss of the show, right? He's the boss of this tribe. And he's got this dumb little mohawk. It's hard to take him seriously with the mohawk, man. Let's be real. That's a stupid reason, but it's true. This is one that maybe it's more debatable, but I believe it's true. He's very weak and mumbly on the mic. Solo's mic work is not inspiring. At all. There has yet to be a single Solo promo that anyone has been taken out by. Anyone that's like, wow, this is incredible. This is a standout. This guy is incredible on the mic. Not a single fucking time. Does not matter who he's been put against. Does not matter the situation. He is not good on the mic. And this goes back to another reason why. He was playing the enforcer for 2 years, okay? He did not speak. And when he did, he only uttered 2 words at a time. He never fucking spoke. He only would speak very whispery and dark and quiet-toned. This is Solo, right? Get the fuck out of here. He hasn't gotten any practice on the mic. So now they decided, really, he hasn't over the last couple years. So now they decided, well, you got to get lobbed into the role. Now you have to start doing really excellent mic work for us. You're the leader of this group. And I get it. That's what factions are for. It's to build up somebody, but it's you're not building up the right guy, clearly. This is another reason. Jacob and Solo were both given the same role. So I keep hearing a lot of people say, well, Jacob had more time because, he was doing his thing before. He was an indie wrestler. He was MLW, Major League Wrestling, all right? He was an indie guy, okay? So he was developing on the indies. Solo was an NXT guy for years. His brothers are the Usos, okay? So he's been kind of already in the WWE farming system for a little while. Why is he still trash as fuck on the mic? Jacob's only been here for a couple months. He's been an indie guy. This goes back to another point. It's practice is part of it, but it's some people have it in them. Some people are just better. Some people present better. Okay? Some people definitely present better. And Jacob's one of those guys. This is a huge one. And this is one that's very bad for the WWF, alright? The crowd vastly prefers the Roman versus Jacob match, really. They really do not care for the Roman and Solo match. The WrestleMania lineup looks like Cody versus Rock, which is the wrong move, okay? It should be Cody versus Randy. And maybe I'll do a separate video on that, but it should definitely be Cody versus Randy, okay? Undeniably Cody versus Randy. We do not need Cody Rock this year. We need Roman and Rock this year, okay? That's the real hype matchup, let's be honest. But either way, they're probably going to go Cody versus Rock. And if they do, Roman's going to have to go probably against Solo. That's weak. I don't think anyone cares for that matchup. That's... really, that can be done in a Survivor Series. Well, no, because of War Games. That could be done at Royal Rumble. I don't know. That could be done at maybe any other pay-per-view, honestly. It's not a matchup that anyone's going to be overly hyped for, and it's not going to be crazy in ring work to the point where it's wow, we need to see this at a big event in a stadium. No, sorry. Jacob and Roman is the money match right now. WWE sees it. That's why they're trying to close out these interactions with Roman and Jacob. Roman and Jacob had one interaction, and that was Jacob coming to the save for Solo. That's it. That is literally it. They're trying their best to hide this away because, there's an acknowledgement that, the better big matchup really is, the big money matchup is going to be Jacob and Roman. Solo's fit, his attire, not in the ring, his in-ring attire is actually good. His out-ring attire, out of the ring attire is not good. It's horrible. The attire Solo's wearing outside of the ring is not good. He's portraying himself as a mob boss for some reason. These all black suits. He doesn't fit well into them. Again, he's a chubby dude. He's not tall, so it doesn't look like a guy that you take seriously. He looks like an enforcer. He looks like a wing guy, like a wingman. A bully. But he doesn't look like the leader. Hell no. Hell no, he doesn't. Especially with these lame suits. They need to give him gear that just makes him look like a badass. It makes him look tough. He doesn't need to look like a professional. Jacob didn't need, and I think I've already sort of brought this up, but Jacob didn't really need NXT or WWE exposure to get over with the audience. That is fucking massive. Let's just put that out there one more time. Jacob did not need to be in NXT or to have any prior exposure to be over with a very casual wrestling audience. The WWE audience is wrestling casual, generally speaking. Especially now. The people who are filling out these stadiums, these arenas, 15,000, 13,000, 12,000, whatever it is, every week, twice a week, is a lot of casuals. A lot of families who are very happy to bring their kids to these shows, okay? It is not huge, hardcore, and geeky wrestling fans. But this guy got extremely over without any motherfucking exposure. Jacob has an incredible moveset. This is something Solo, we've already harked back on before. Solo has a generic Samoan moveset. Jacob's matches will be very prime TV. They're prime money matches because this guy is exciting as hell in the ring. He's very, very athletic. Very athletic. Solo's pretty athletic too, but nowhere near the level of Jacob. This is my final two. And again, I think I've already sort of spoken on this one, but yeah, not speaking the last couple of years destroyed Solo, I think, in his development. He needed to speak. His progress as a performer has been stunted because he has not spoken in 2 years. It's kind of killing him. But this is my last one, all right? Solo is trying too hard at times. At times you're watching Solo and you feel like he's trying way, way too hard, okay? He does not seem like he's comfortable in his role. He seems like he's still trying to figure it out, which I understand. That's going to be the case, but man, you're looking at Jacob, though, and you're like, God damn, that guy transitioned like nothing into his role. While Solo is really trying hard to look tough and real and presented as intimidating. We'll go back to the point one more time. The big money matchup is Roman versus Jacob right now, not Roman versus Solo. This is a problem for WWE. You've been building up Solo for a couple of years. He's supposed to be taken seriously as a main eventer at this point. He's not. He's not being booed because he's a really good heel, or because he has good mic work, or because the crowd hates him. No, they're booing him because he's a phony. That is the most resounding point the WWE also knows. They know this, by the way. They know that. He is a phony. That's why he's getting boos. But this is not good, and nor does this have longevity in the future, so WWE really has a lot to consider.